his own order or those established by Governor Greg Abbott. But at the time, the city was recommending people not gather in groups of more than 10. And at the time of Adler's departure, Austin health authorities warned that it's important that we drive down the COVID-19 numbers in advance of Thanksgiving. Adler even pressed the public to help stop spread the virus in recent weeks. Adler had not previously disclosed the details of his private actions. He gave no indication in his Facebook video that he was outside the city, outside the country, as he discussed Austin's rising number of cases, and he reviewed the number of hospital patients. Now, in an interview this week with the American Statesman, the newspaper from which I'm quoting, the mayor said he and his family put hours of consideration into how to hold an intimate event and vacation as safely as possible. He said he consulted with interim health director Dr. Mark Ascott prior to the wedding, which was held at the Hotel St. Cecilia, and established rules to ensure to ensure guests' safety. The 20 attendees that's who were at the wedding, 20 attendees, had to undergo a rapid COVID-19 test to maintain social distancing. Now, Adler added that masks were distributed, although he acknowledges that guests probably weren't wearing them all the time. Hey, I did my thing. I gave them a mask. I can't help it they didn't wear it. Unbelievable. Now, Adler said his conduct is different from other officials because he did not behave in a way that was inconsistent with his message at the time. He added that his actions did not violate his regulations. Really? Adler also said his daughter wanted a much larger wedding, but due to the pandemic, they downsized it to mostly parents and siblings, some of which who flew into Austin. In fact, they flew the photographer in from Seattle, Washington. I'm sure there's no photographers in Austin that could photograph the wedding, I'm sure. Now, my daughter, like so many other brides, was having to make adjustments in order to stay compliant with the orders from the health director here in Austin and the orders I issued as mayor. My daughter and my family are no exception. But they flew a photographer in from Seattle, okay? They brought people in. Some of the guests were not from Austin. They flew them in too, okay? And in addition, Adler said he does not believe that he took a test upon his return to Austin from Cabo. But he kind of generally quarantined. So, did you take a test, Mr. Mayor? I don't know. But I generally quarantined. What does generally quarantine mean? Does that mean that you stayed at home? You quarantined 51% of the time? That's most of the time, right? I mean, this is just beyond the fray. It's beyond the fray. And again, well, my daughter wanted a bigger wedding than this. This is all I could give her. I only had 20 people. Well, the rules say no more than 10. You exceeded it by 100%. Okay? Reasons like this, the mayor of Denver, the governor of California, I can go on and on and on about these officials who make the rules, Governor Pritzker in Illinois. I can go on and on about these officials, these leaders, Governor Cuomo visiting his grandmother. I can go on and on and on and on and on about all these officials who make the rules, threaten a lockdown if the rules aren't followed, and then they do whatever the hell they want, okay? Now, why do I mention this? Because of the freedoms we have. Now, something to remember, and to be fair to the mayor, none of these were laws. These were mandates. These were strong suggestions. These were, we don't want to shut it down, but if you don't want us to shut it down, you need to do this, 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 and that. So legally, the mayor didn't break any laws, but he broke every one of his own rules. And this is why so many don't take this pandemic and the restrictions seriously, because those who are our leaders, those making the rules, don't take them seriously. Those making the rules are not following them. So you have to ask one of two questions. Are the rules just bogus? Or are the leaders just elitists, holier than thou? They have a double standard. They're not the great unwashed. They're better than you and I. And when people see this, they just say, F it. You're not better than me. You're the same as me. And if you can do your own thing, so am I. Now, That is a yin and yang of freedom, okay? The mayor didn't break any laws. He broke his own rules. Even here in Missouri, it's not against the law to go outside without a mask. It's not against the law to have a bunch of people into your house. But people are doing what they want because they have the freedom. And people are doing what they want, I believe, because the leaders, the people setting these rules, are doing whatever the hell they want. And I don't know of anyone who says, I understand why the mayor would do something different, because the mayor is really better than me. Nobody thinks that way. Except for the mayor. He thinks that way, except for our leaders. But none of the underlings, none of us common class, none of us great unwashed, none of us believe that our leaders are more important than us. We don't work that way. But in a free society, the leaders are free to do this. And when the people see that, they do whatever the hell they want to. If you can do it, so can I. That is a benefit and a detriment to freedom. Face number 3, and this is the big one. This is the one that's going to take the most time here. The 4 faces of a free society. I'm going to go back to the Clintons once again. We never get tired of the Clintons, do we? I don't. I do and I don't, okay? I'm tired of hearing about the Clintons. Just about the time you think you've heard everything you could possibly ever hear about the Clintons, something else comes up. And where did I get this from? I'm not going to call this the recent dirt. I'm just going to say new information from a news source. And I get this from Vanity Fair magazine, of all places. This is not InfoWars. This is not Fox News. This is not the American Spectator. This is Vanity Fair magazine, which is very left-leaning and more of a lifestyle publication than a hard political rag, okay? But I get a lot of good stuff out of Vanity Fair because they have good journalists. And this particular article was written by a gentleman named Gabriel Sherman, and it's entitled Confessions of a Clinton World Exile, okay? Clinton World. I love that term. That's his, not mine, okay? This belongs to Gabriel Sherman, the guy who wrote this article. And it's about Doug Brand. Now, that may or may not seem familiar, but Doug Brand worked alongside Bill Clinton every day for 20 years. First as a body man, and then as one of the primary architects of his lucrative and often fraught post-presidency. Now, what's a body man? A body man in politics is a guy who does everything for you. He gets your car. He makes your meetings. He runs interference for you. He builds your appointments. He decides who's going to see you. He runs your life, basically. He does everything for you. Okay, that was a body man. Okay, he did all this. And then came a seismic falling out with accusations of Brand self-dealing and soap opera level psychodrama. But then it is the Clintons, okay? Now, for the first time since leaving Clinton's orbit, Brand goes on the record about his days in Clinton world. And if you get a chance, I'm doing this essay on this, but if you get a chance, read this article in Vanity Fair by Gabriel Sherman. It's unbelievable. But I'm going to go ahead and give you a Reader's Digest version of it on this essay. Now, Doug Brand has an office at a company called Teneo. And Teneo is a communications and advisory firm that Brand founded, okay? And his offices in Teneo, the corporate advisory firm that he co-founded, is decorated like a wing of the Clinton Presidential Library. Framed photographs of Clinton adorn virtually every surface of the office, except for the windows, which look down at the rush hour on Park Avenue. It's a Manhattan business, okay? A lot of these pictures are just about moments, said Brand one morning last winter as he showed the author his collection. Now, Brand, who's a broad-shouldered man with dark eyes, premature and gray hair, he appears in most of the pictures, okay? Lots of pictures of Band and Clinton playing golf with Barack Obama, posing backstage with Michael Jackson, meeting North Korean dictator Kim Jong-il. He said, Bill Clinton was my life for almost 20 years. Now, when Band was 22, he landed an unpaid job at a White House consul office, okay? He served as Clinton's body man, I just defined that earlier, while earning his Georgetown law degree at night. Now, on paper, the job of body man is just a glorified gopher, but Band leveraged the position to build a bond with the leader of the free world. He was the right-hand man of the president. He spent a lot of time with him. When Clinton left office in January 2001, Band was one of the aides that Clinton invited to go with him. Band took on the role that was parts fixer, gatekeeper, wingman, and adopted son. Okay? He treated him like his son. Now, they were together with each other all the time, said a former Clinton staff, former Clinton staff member John Podesta, who first got to know Band in the Clinton White House. Now, Band virtually invented Clinton's post-presidential life. He set up Clinton's Harlem office. He helped launch the Clinton Foundation, created the Clinton Global Initiative. Yeah, the Clinton Global Initiative, the CGI, that was Band. He invented that, said you need a Davos-style conference to host every year to get people in here. Now, Band and Clinton circled the globe in a private jet with a rat pack of billionaires that included supermarket magnate Ron Burkle, movie producer Stephen Bing, and infamously Jeffrey Epstein. Now, before Clinton had quadruple bypass surgery back in 2004, he dialed Brand at the first sign of chest pains. So Clinton was having chest pains. Brand is the guy he called, not his doctor, not his wife. There were years that Clinton spent more time with Band than with any other person. More time than he spent with Hillary, more time than he spent with his daughter Chelsea. Okay. Now, Band's breakup with Clinton remains a subject of fascination and fierce debate in the Clinton era. Now, some view the split as a father-son story gone awry. Others see it as a cautionary tale. Band mastered the dark arts of self-dealing, power broking, and conflict of interest navigation that made Clinton's post-presidency seem, at times, like one big money grab. Like his mentor, Brand grew fabulously wealthy doing this. Band grew multiple salaries from Clinton's office, the Clinton Foundation, CGI, Clinton Global Initiative. He also had, because the Clinton Foundation and CGI are two different entities, okay? He also had a side deal with Burkle's companies, the supermarket guy. Even his path out of Clinton world charted directly through Clinton world. Teneo was essentially an arm of the Clinton Foundation in its early years. Now, Brand converted the foundation donors to Teneo clients and encouraged Teneo clients to donate to the Clinton Foundation. So he rolled them all into one. With all the dollars flying back and forth, it looked to Band's critics like Band was cashing in on his boss's Rolodex. Now, in 2018, Band and his family purchased a $20 million Manhattan townhouse that once belonged to David Rockefeller. Yeah, he was living like a Rockefeller now. And they're in the midst of a multi-year renovation on that same property. Last year, Band and his partners sold a majority of their stake in Teneo to a private equity firm called CVC Capital. How much did he get for it? $700 million, almost $750 million. Yeah, not a bad payday. Now, those critics include the Clintons themselves. Critics of Band include the Clintons themselves, who actually offered a caustic assessment of Band when asked for comments. No staffer has ever used their role to serve their interest as much as Band. That was according to a unnamed Clinton family spokesman. Now, for many years, he was a valuable member of President Clinton's team and supportive of the Clinton Foundation programs, until he wasn't. He put the foundation at risk by leveling a world-class philanthropy for his own financial gain. It's as disappointing a story as it is a sad one, and ultimately why Doug Band and the Clintons parted ways. Again, this is quoted from a Clinton family spokesman. But remember now, Band's admirers argued that he's been unfairly maligned. They say Band built a philanthropy empire that raised nearly $70 billion to tackle the world's thorniest problems, from lowering the